Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to do a complete 800-hour service on my John Deere 2038R compact tractor. It's quite a bit to get done here, and as we go along, we'll talk some general maintenance stuff, and hopefully it's either entertaining or educational, or you can at least have a laugh at my expense. So the first thing I did was take the loader off, get it in here in the shop, kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Now I'm going to lift up the hood and take the side panels off to get better access to everything. Next we need to take off this little cover, the 10mm. What do you guys personally think of the John Deere setup with the lift up flat hood instead of the lift up hood that takes the front with it? Okay, so now we're going to drain the oil with this 11/16 socket. I don't know if this is magnetic or not, but there's nothing on it. Ideally, your engine's at least warmed up a little bit before you do this so the oil flows better. But then I don't get in any hurry. I let it drip as long as it'll drip in case there's any shavings or anything sitting in the bottom. You want to get everything you can out. Our oil is still dripping into the pan, and because it's an elongated pan, I can go ahead and take the filter out and it's over the same pan. Now, as you do with anything you change the oil on, you want to make sure that you got a seal that came off with the filter. I actually knew someone who blew an engine because the seal from the old filter stayed on the engine block, and they put their new filter on and it had two seals, which doesn't seal at all. I went ahead and put the plug back in the bottom after giving it a lot of time to drain. Then I started looking at these oil filters, and they look considerably different. You can see the diameter on this one. That's a huge difference in the diameter. They have the same part number on them, M806419. I looked up the part number online. I got the same part number. There's a big flat ring on it. Maybe it doesn't matter how big the outside of the filter is. So we're going to see how this works. Now, when I bought the tractor, I bought it with the service plan, and I would not do that again because I got these prepaid services, which was nice at the time not to have to do it, but I kind of think we should all be doing our own tractor maintenance because it familiarizes you with the machine. You need to get hands on it and kind of know what's going on with it. I'm going to put some oil around this and go ahead and screw it in. That oil is to make sure your seal doesn't stick or rip. When you put it on, it needs to slide when you twist it. I hardly ever use a filter wrench. I mean, it feels like get them hand tight and they don't leak or anything. I don't know why you need to go past that. I squeeze pretty hard and twist about as hard as I can, and then I'm always able to get them back off. And I let a little time pass to make sure that we didn't have a leak. Now I'm going to pour this in, and this takes forever because it's so sticky. Takes forever to drain all of this out of the bottle. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here and just let it sit for 20 minutes or however long it takes. So I've let this drain for probably 20 minutes. Well, whatever's going to come out has got to be out. Get the cap back on, and we are done with the engine oil change. Now we have fuel filters to change. But I guess before we go to that, get this oil container here and dump the oil out of our catch pan into this bigger container so we can get it disposed of. So now we're going to start on the fuel system. We'll turn the fuel off there, and then we've got a bleeder here on the bottom. This should, in theory, let out any water or bigger particles that have accumulated. This looks like it won't screw all the way down. This is supposed to come off. And that's got to screw down for it to come off. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got to take the whole thing loose. All right, when we bring this out, this will unscrew. Okay. Now he told me that this filter usually does not need replaced. The guy at the dealership said don't even buy one, you won't need it, but take it out and check it. We've made sure there's nothing in this bowl. As I continue to do my research here, it looks like we had a misunderstanding at the dealership. Looking at the charts, we believed that this canister I just took apart was the primary filter and this was the secondary filter. That is not the case. This is one of the filters and it lists a part number for it, but this is considered the primary filter and the secondary filter is over next to the oil filter. So we're going to change this one out right now. It's called the primary filter. It's shorter and a little bit wider than the other one. Quick and easy to change. I was in a hurry because that was leaking, but I should have checked the same thing, made sure the seal went with it, and it did. So for this John Deere 2038R, the primary fuel filter over there was the MIU 800645. Secondary fuel filter is right here. That is part number M811032. Tomorrow, I'll go get one of these and do the exact same thing. Just unscrew this, screw it back in. Now, a lot of times passed with the oil. I don't know, it probably hasn't filled the fuel oil filter yet, but we can go ahead and check the oil here. Looks like it's just a hair overfilled. I think as soon as it cycles, it'll work some oil into the filter, and that just being just a hair overfilled is a good thing in this case. So then we're going to take this little rubber thing. It's supposed to be a dust collection port at the bottom. Make sure it's not holding anything. Flip our little tabs open here. Pull the top off. And this is full of dust, which is what you would expect. Got a new filter over here, so we'll throw this one away. Now, these have an inner and an outer air filter. And every time you change the outer filter, you don't necessarily have to change the inner filter. The inner filter looks really clean. We've got a new outer filter. Make sure that's seated down on there good. We'll blow this out real quick. And I believe that does it for the front of the tractor. Some of this I don't have a strong opinion on, but one thing I don't like is that there's no removable screen here over the radiator, so the radiator itself plugs up. And even if you get an air hose in here, it's hard to get it all out. It's like you need a soft brush that's really thin, but there's a hydraulic cooler right in front of it and another cooler right in front of that. And it's really hard to clean the radiator. But we'll go ahead and blow it off real quick and then make sure we have plenty of coolant. We're full here. The overflow is at full cold. From what I've seen, gas stations switch to a winter diesel. But I've got some fuel storage tanks here that may not have it. And just anytime I get new fuel onto the property, not every time I add it to the tractor, but every time I bring new fuel onto the property or take the tractor directly to a gas station, I add some diesel treatment and anti-gel fuel lubricator, mainly just to keep it from gelling up and freezing. This treats 320 gallons and it's a 10-gallon tank. So I'm only going to put like an ounce or two. So now we're going to change the hydraulic fluid. I'm going to go ahead and pull the fill plug out, or take it loose. I might leave that in there. Just let some air out. Okay. And we got a drain plug down here. Now this is one that you don't want to pull the plug and walk off, because this holds 6 gallons. And a lot of times your fill pan or your drain pan won't hold 6 gallons. Now the hydraulic fluid, I think it says every 400 hours or check it. For me, this one, I'm not going to listen to the manufacturer. John Deere knows a lot more than I do, right? But I'm not going to wait that long. It's because I know more about me than they do. And I'm going to say I'm guilty of not always doing a perfect job of cleaning out my hydraulic ports before plugging a hose in. And even if you try, if there's any dirt in there, that sucks into your system. And last thing you want is dirt and debris in your hydraulic system. So for my money, I'm going to overdo it on the hydraulic oil changes. So the guy at the parts counter was trying to tell me this takes 12 gallons. And I knew that wasn't right. And online I looked it up, and it's 5 gallons or 5.5 or something like that. So I've got a 5 gallon here, and I got 2 of the 1 gallons. What you use on this is High Guard, low viscosity transmission, and hydraulic oil. Let's go ahead and get the filters changed while this is draining. I want to make sure that every bit of the hydraulic oil is running out the back, so I'm going to just slightly lift the front of the tractor, try to assist that. Now we've got 2 hydraulic filters. Right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, is a canister filter just like the others. LVA 14703. Goes on right here, and then the transmission filter is right above it. And there's nothing special to putting these on. It's just like an oil filter. You can reach them from the outside, change them from the outside. Pretty quick and easy. And one of the videos mentioned that this is just a pipe thread, so we should put some Teflon tape on it. Same as with the other systems. I let that drain for 30 or 40 minutes. Now we're going to remove our hydraulic fill point. I've already cleaned around it. And then drop a long funnel down in there. I need to lower my 3-point arms. One of the videos I watched suggested using a flexible hose with a bungee strap up here. But for me, that kind of wedges in there. This holds 5.25 gallons. So I'm going to make sure my funnel's going to hold and not overflow or spill, and put a 1/3 of a quart of this in here, 1/3 of a gallon. Alright, so if we don't spill any, then we need this entire 5-gallon jug. We're going to start off pouring with our spout at the top of the bucket. I thought this was going to be a hassle, thinking this is heavy to hold in that tilted position the whole time, but it can rest on this 3-point arm. Makes it easy to pour. With this up, it doesn't spit or gurgle or fight for air. I think once it's almost empty, we'll flip it around. I was making that sound more difficult than it was. Simple funnel, spilled almost nothing. Now we're going to check our front axle fluid. This is not something that John Deere is recommending I change right now anyway. And it has fluid in it. Never had a leak or a problem with the seals. So I'm going to say we're all good on the front axle. That covered everything I could think of that should be done in your regular maintenance, at least the 200-hour maintenance schedule. That and just the greasing, which you do even more often. So anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Tell me if you think of anything I missed or did wrong, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.